They didn't just doubt you, they buried you. Not physically, no. That would have been easy. They buried you with silence, with rejection, with every "you're not good enough" look they threw at you. They buried you with their absence when you needed them the most. They buried you with betrayal, and they thought you'd never rise again. You remember that day, that one moment where you sat on the edge of your bed, lights off, phone on silent, no messages, no calls, just the sound of your own heartbeat asking, "What the hell happened to me?" That was your lowest point. And the worst part? It wasn't even the pain. It was the realization that nobody was coming to save you. Nobody was going to say, "I believe in you." Nobody was going to pick you up off that cold floor. You were on your own. But let me tell you something. That moment, that quiet, brutal, soul-crushing moment, was the beginning of everything. Because something shifted inside you. You stopped waiting. You stopped hoping for an apology that was never coming. You stopped expecting loyalty from people who were only loyal to their convenience. You didn't just rise. You rebuilt, brick by brick, wound by wound. You became something else. They thought they were breaking you. What they were really doing was forging you. You see, pain either destroys you or redesigns you. And you let it redesign you. No more pretending. No more playing small so others feel comfortable. No more hiding your greatness just to be accepted by people who never truly saw you. You learned to be dangerous. Not violent, dangerous. Focused, calm, patient, unstoppable. Now look at you. Still walking, still breathing, stronger, smarter, colder, and they have no idea what's coming. They thought the silence meant you gave up. They didn't realize you were building in secret. And when you come back, you won't come back with noise. You'll come back with results. And the same people who tried to bury you, they'll swear they always believed in you. So if you're listening to this, and you're still in that dark place, good. Stay there for a little while. Not forever. Just long enough to remember what it felt like. Because one day, when you've built yourself into something unrecognizable, you'll look back at this moment, and you'll thank the pain. Because the pain was the beginning of your power. There's always that one moment. A moment when everything just stops. Not in a dramatic, cinematic way. Quietly, internally. Almost like your spirit just shuts the door and walks away. You're left sitting in a room that used to feel familiar, but suddenly, it all feels foreign. Your dreams don't excite you. Your reflection doesn't recognize you. And the people around you, they don't see it. They smile, they talk, they scroll past. But inside you, you're collapsing. You wake up, not because you're rested, but because you have to. You show up, not because you're inspired, but because you're scared to fall behind. You laugh at jokes that don't feel funny, nod in conversations that you mentally left 5 minutes ago. And the worst part is, no one notices. You're screaming inside a soundproof world. That's the breaking point. It's not loud. It's not a public breakdown. It's the quiet realization that you're not okay. That you've been running on empty. That something deep inside you is unraveling. And the scariest part? You don't know how to fix it. You just feel it coming, like a wave that won't stop. But here's the truth. The breaking point is not your end. It's your rebirth. Everything meaningful begins here. Not in comfort, not in applause, but in silence, in pain, in solitude. You think this is your downfall, but one day you'll call it your turning point. After the collapse comes silence. You expect someone to check on you. A message, a call, anything, but no one comes. The world moves on like it always does, and you realize something painful. Most people are not ignoring you, they just don't see your pain. They don't know how to hold space for you. They don't want to be uncomfortable, so they disappear, and you're left alone with the echo of your own thoughts. At first, that silence feels like punishment. You ask, why did they leave me when I needed them most? You replay old conversations, looking for signs. You start blaming yourself, thinking, maybe I'm the problem. But then something shifts. You stop expecting the world to rescue you. You stop waiting for validation. You begin to hear the one voice that's been drowned out your whole life. Yours. In that silence, you start seeing what you've been avoiding. The fake relationships. The masks you wore to fit in. The parts of yourself you neglected. And slowly, that silence becomes your teacher. You stop filling the void with noise. You start facing the void. And in doing so, you begin to rebuild from the inside out. This chapter of silence isn't your punishment. It's your purification. No one talks about this part. The fight isn't out there. It's in your head. It's not a villain or a bad guy. It's your own voice. The one that tells you, you're not enough. You'll never make it. Why even try? You carry wounds from childhood, from failures, from people who said things they never apologized for. And now those voices live in you, rent-free. You're constantly arguing with yourself, between the version that wants to grow and the one that's terrified to try. This is the part where most people lose. Not because they aren't smart, not because they don't have talent, but because they believe the voice of fear more than the voice of faith. But you kept showing up. Even when you doubted yourself, even when nothing was working, you stayed in the ring, bleeding and breathless, but still fighting. And that matters. Because this war, this private, invisible war, is where champions are built. Not in stadiums, not on stages, but in bedrooms at 2 a.m., where the only person cheering for you is you. And that is enough. Something changes when you finally stop chasing. You stop chasing people who don't clap for you. You stop chasing a version of life that never felt right. You stop begging for validation from people who couldn't see your worth even if you shouted it. You stop, and when you do, something wild happens. You find peace, not the soft, yoga-style peace, but the kind that comes from reclaiming your power, from realizing, if no one claps, I'll clap for myself. If no one believes, I'll build anyway. The shift is internal, the spiritual. You no longer look for rescue. You become the rescuer. You don't wait for opportunities, you make them. You stop blaming life, your parents, your ex, your past, and you take full control. It's not easy. It's lonely, but it's freeing. You begin to trust the quiet. You start making decisions for your future self. You sacrifice comfort for alignment. And that's when your life starts changing because you changed. This is where people vanish. The glow-up sounded nice. The transformation felt exciting. The quotes hit hard. But now, it's just you, your goals, and the grind that no one claps for. Wake up, work, repeat. No applause, no dopamine hits, just discipline. You start realizing that real change doesn't look like motivation. It looks like doing the hard thing on the days you feel nothing. It looks like saying no to comfort and yes to discomfort. Again and again. It's unsexy, it's exhausting, and it's absolutely essential. Because this is where the results are built. Not when you feel like it, not when it's fun, but when it's boring. When no one is watching, when the old you is screaming to come back, and you say, no, I've come too far. Discipline turns pain into power. And in this phase, you don't just become better, you become unshakable. Growth is not glamorous. Forget what social media shows you. It's not candles, journals, and aesthetic routines. It's cold nights. It's turning off your phone because every message drains you. It's looking at the friends you used to vibe with and realizing they no longer feed your soul. You don't talk about it, but you feel it. You've changed. And while that's beautiful, it's also brutal. You start craving conversations that go deeper than gossip. You stop laughing at jokes that don't match your spirit anymore. You begin seeing how small your circle really is. And that's the point. Growth requires distance. Distance from people who keep you stagnant. Distance from habits that numb your mind. Distance from environments that shrink your dreams. And it hurts. You miss the old comfort, the inside jokes, the way it used to feel. But at the same time, you can't go back. You can't unsee the truth. You can't unfeel the calling. You can't unknow your own potential. So you stay lonely for a while. Not forever, but just long enough to become someone that no longer begs to belong. Because now you're not looking for people to understand you. You're becoming someone who understands yourself so deeply, you don't need outside approval to feel whole. That's real growth, and it always walks hand in hand with loneliness. This isn't healing. This is a redesign. You're not going back to who you were. That person broke. That person was built around survival and pleasing everyone else. You're creating someone new on purpose. You start making choices that feel strange at first. Sleeping early, eating cleaner, saying no more, not to impress anyone, not to look successful, but because it finally feels right. You create new standards for how you let people treat you. You don't tolerate half-love anymore. You don't explain your boundaries to people who never respected them in the first place. You stop trying to fix broken people while breaking yourself in the process. The redesign is uncomfortable because it kills the ego. It exposes the part of you that was addicted to chaos. It forces you to see your own patterns, not blame others, but confront your own role in your pain. But as you keep showing up for yourself, something shifts. You begin to enjoy your own company. You stop needing to escape your thoughts. You look in the mirror and feel proud, not for what you've achieved, but for who you're becoming. You're not healing to return to the old you. You're healing to become someone the old you never dreamed was possible. After the redesign comes the return. But this time, you're different. You're not hungry for attention. You're not chasing applause. You're walking with presence. Because now you know who you are. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You enter rooms without the urge to be the loudest. You speak only when your words carry weight. You're not driven by ego anymore. You're driven by clarity. And suddenly, the same people who overlooked you start watching. The same ones who doubted you start asking questions. Where have you been? What changed? But you don't owe anyone an explanation, because they weren't there when you were breaking. They weren't there during the silence. They didn't fight the wars in your head. This return isn't for them. It's for you. You don't walk back for revenge. You walk back to build, to give, to lead, because the version of you that left was trying to survive. But the version returning is built to thrive. No announcements, no declarations, just quiet power. And when you step in now, the whole room feels it. The biggest change? Not your body, not your bank account, your mindset. You stop seeing life as happening to you and start seeing it as happening through you. You no longer say, "Why me?" You say, "Try me." Obstacles aren't threats anymore, they're invitations. Challenges aren't setbacks, they're setups. Every loss becomes a lesson. Every delay becomes divine. You start realizing that your peace isn't something people can give or take. It's something you build inside and guard like your life depends on it. You stop arguing with people who don't want to understand. You stop chasing things that drain you. You stop needing validation to feel valuable. You walk into each day with intention. You don't just react, you respond. You no longer fear failure because now you know. Failure teaches. Quitting kills. This switch changes your energy, your relationships, your destiny. Because when your mind is aligned, your life follows. You didn't survive all this just to survive. You made it through hell not to sit in comfort, but to lead, to build, to lift others from their darkness. This is bigger than you now. Legacy doesn't mean fame. It means impact. It means becoming the kind of person whose presence shifts the room, whose story becomes someone else's survival guide. You start thinking generationally. You think about the kids who'll never meet you, but will live better because of what you built. You think about the lives that will change just by hearing your voice. You realize this isn't about going viral. It's about going deep. Your purpose expands. You stop asking, "What do I want from life?" and start asking, "What does life want from me?" That's legacy. Not in what you keep, but in what you leave behind. If you've made it this far, that already tells me something about you. You're not like the rest. You don't just scroll and forget. You feel, you think, you fight back even when no one sees it. This wasn't just a video, this was a mirror. And maybe, for the first time in a long time, you saw yourself clearly. Not the broken you, not the tired you, but the version of you that's still here, still breathing, still pushing. still capable of becoming someone unrecognizable. So here's the truth. You don't need more motivation. You need to remember who the hell you are. You are not your trauma. You are not your failures. You are not the person they tried to keep small. You are proof that silence doesn't mean surrender. You are proof that pain can become power. You are proof that some stories don't end, they restart. So take this energy and don't just save it. Live it. Build with it. Move different. And when they ask what happened to you, you just smile and say, I remembered who I was. Now go do something with that. You're still here? Good. That means you're built different. Hit the like and subscribe button, because this is where the mindset shift begins.